When we sleep, our bodies rest, but our minds come alive, filling the darkness with fantastic images. But what do these mental images mean, and can we learn from them?
When we dream, we're less defensive, so we see life with much more maturity and insight.
Dream specialist Dr. Gayle Delaney is the author of the new book, All About Dreams. Delaney believes these overnight illusions are metaphors of reality and can easily be analyzed and understood.
Write down your dreams first thing in the morning by keeping a pad right by your bed, and then read over your dreams and say, how is my dream a parable about what's going on in my life? So Catherine, tell me your dream.
Well, my dream is I'm with my boyfriend and I'm in the kitchen.
Catherine Doucet was confused by a very unusual dream about her relationship.
I'm looking at his face and I notice that his nose is really crooked. It's bent to the side of his face. So I tell him that his nose is crooked and he says, no, my nose is fine. There's nothing wrong with my nose.
He's right. In reality, there was nothing wrong with his nose. But after a session with Dr. Delaney, Catherine realized it was his denial that had sparked meaning in the dream.
The problem is that he wanted to be perfect, he wanted to be seen as somebody without flaws, and he wanted to be right. So that was the problem I was having in the relationship.
Some dreams convey particular messages, like an embarrassing dream about your teeth falling out.
It's usually a dream about a fear of losing face, of looking bad in front of your co-workers or your family. Teenage women have this dream often, and it's about trying to make it with your peers.
Anxiety dreams can also relay an important message. They include the terrifying thought of missing an airplane or an important exam.
That dream usually comes to people when they have too much to do, where they can't quite meet all the demands of every day.
That's much like the infamous dream of falling. Gayle says falling in a dream may suggest a loss of control in your life, but no worries if you hit the ground.
A common myth is if you hit the ground, you'll be dead. I can assure you that I've had many, many clients through the years who've had the dream, hit the ground, and the dream continues.
I'm flying the airplane, and I'm up in a high altitude, and I put the airplane into a steep dive.
Roger Sramick says a reoccurring dream about flying an old P-51 Mustang warplane takes over when the pressures of life build up. His favorite uncle flew the P-51 during World War II. In his dreams, bombs fly and explosions follow, but in the end, he always survives the mission. Roger says after dream analysis, it all makes sense.
When I pull back on the stick and start the climb, then that's a different feeling of serenity and accomplishment, and I think it's symbolic of my taking charge of my life.
Thoughts and emotions from the unconscious mind. Some are serene, some haunting, but Delaney says they are always a window to our world.
Our dreams can be a hotline to the most intuitive, insightful, and honest parts of ourselves.
And today,
the driver is weaving back and forth from the center divide to the one lane.
Don't forget that we're dealing with an armed suspect here.
Daniel 7, the driver appears to be reaching for something in the front seat. I'm going to be backing out just a little bit.
one desperate man is on a collision course with the law.
28 years on this job, and how many times you go to a bank to withdraw some money from an ATM and have somebody walk out of a bank with a large caliber handgun.
Detective Terry Madison and his partner, Quentin Manis.
He wasn't looking around. He was walking directly to his car, gun and bag in hand.
They just happened to be outside the bank when the robber made his getaway.
And I was here and I took up a position in this manner here, and he got in his vehicle, and I thought, man, do I do it or do I not do it?
Get a possible 211 progress, the Great Western, male white, got a long silver handgun.
And I heard Terry start broadcasting his description. I can hear the helicopter. The car pulled out, and we figured the safest way would be to follow him and take him down in a less populated area.
He accelerated up to almost 90 miles an hour, This is the on-ramp that he takes. He knows that he's wanted because he's just done a bank robbery. He knows that the police are behind him, so you don't know how he's going to react. It's very dangerous on a freeway.
He just did weird stuff all the time.
Two women who know the bank robber firsthand
He'll get out there in the alley and just pace up and down, up and down.
aren't surprised he's in trouble with the law.
He's a very strange fella.
The last thing that he did that I remember, he was over here banging and playing the stereo and hitting on the wall.
When he got mad one night, he threw a microwave off the balcony and smashed through a car window in the parking lot. He gets very angry, very easy.
And now, this unpredictable and violent man
You have just joined us.
is raising the stakes.
You're watching a high-speed pursuit of an armed robbery suspect.
He's making a run for the Mexican border.
We have 5 California Highway Patrol units over the pursuit. Also, a police helicopter just off my left now at 1,000 feet. They believe the suspect, like I said, is armed and dangerous. They're very concerned about this.
Okay, Bill Rader, as we talk, this car is continuing to move closer and closer to the border. What options do they have open to them?
The adrenaline is pumping awful hard. Any individual whose adrenaline is pumping is very dangerous, particularly during the course of the getaway.
87R2, we're approaching Governor Drive at 75 miles an hour in the number 1 lane.
Okay, he's making some evasive maneuvers, a little bit more evasive maneuvers now.
The vehicle just went into the center divide, passing traffic in the center divide.
Okay, moving over across all lanes of the freeway. No, he's trying to lose officers.
And he's making very furtive movements in the vehicle.
He may have nothing to lose by running from officers.
An hour and a half into the high-speed chase.
This pursuit is now coming into the heavily congested downtown San Diego area, and if the pursuit continues along the 805 freeway, we can find ourselves coming up to the border area just about 10 minutes from now.
Coming up, a life or death confrontation.
Okay, he's coming up on the border, and this is a very dangerous situation. We do have a lot of traffic up ahead.
At the international border.
If he tries getting over the border at a high rate of speed, the National Police from Mexico might very well open fire.
And later in our 48 hours.
Also ahead, did the paparazzi interfere with Princess Diana's rescue?
I felt like very tame, purposefully so.
Relaxing at home with his family in suburban Los Angeles.
That's my my private time.
The FBI's Bill Rader tries to leave behind the tense world of chasing bank robbers.
Do you think about some of the guys you're chasing when you run?
There's nothing you can do to shut it out.
Yeah.
But I've always enjoyed my work. I can't wait to get there in the morning.
Hi, Donna. This is Linda with the FBI. We have a holdup alarm here. Have you had a robbery?
Let's see what she's got.
He's the FBI's secret weapon against bank robbers in L.A.
We'll see if we hit it on the first one. It's my job to keep track of, at any particular moment in time, perhaps 35 to 40 different serial bandits or groups of bandits. This particular individual not only did 64 robberies, he did 6 in one day.
And they often leave a paper trail.
Well, here's a guy that he says, I have a gun in my picket. And we'll use it.
The stick-up notes used during the robberies.
This is a holdup. In my left hand here, I am holding a 200-kiloton nuclear missile. If you don't give me all your 100s, 50s, and 20s in both drawers, I'm going to launch this missile toward Saudi Arabia.
From the bank?
This is a guy that we call the Michael Jackson Bandit.
Rader comes up with nicknames for the bandits to remember them.
He wears only one glove. This guy was known as the Addis Bandit because, although he indicates he has AIDS, he doesn't know how to spell it.
This Thursday morning, he's focused on 2 particular robbers.
I call them the artwork bandits.
They've already hit 13 banks.
This is a whole series of one of the artwork bandits.
And surveillance cameras have caught them in the act.
He has his hair pulled back into a ponytail, and as of yesterday, we have a photograph of artwork bandit number 2.
Their trademark?
One of the world's worst drawings of a gun with bullets coming out the muzzle and then striking some poor stick figure.
They are the classic note bandits, grabbing just a few $1,000s each heist.
It went down at almost 11 o'clock.
And Rader thinks he knows their motive.
I think there's little doubt that drugs are the driving force behind them.
Rader says 80% of the bank robbers in L.A.
When you're hooked, you're hooked.
Are driven by a need to feed their drug habits.
Suspect number 2,
if he can give us anything.
While Rader masterminds the hunt for the art bandits from his FBI office, LAPD detectives Norm Jackson.
We had a getaway car drive down this alley. Have you been out here very long?
And Tom Witch are out doing some legwork on the case.
The guy with the bun, he's going to be about 5'8" to 5'11", 140, 160 pounds. The other guy is a lot taller. He's 6 foot, 6'1". These guys are good for 13 robberies since February, so we need all the help we can on these guys.
Back at the FBI,
We have a hold-up alarm here. Have you had a robbery?
Bill Rader is on high alert.
They did not rob yesterday, and since they have robbed the previous 3 days in a row, I fully expect to see a robbery within the next 2 days.
And sure enough,
Was the picture of the gun on the note?
just 90 minutes into our 48 hours,
It's artwork.
17L40 on a 211.
now the LAPD takes the lead.
We have a bank 211 going right now at 9100 Tampa.
They've just hit this bank.
Suspect vehicle is a Bronx Thunderbird, last seen eastbound on North.
Roger, send me the incident. I'm only about maybe a minute away.
Police Sergeant Bob Davis happens to be patrolling just blocks from the
We
bank.
know he went on Nordoff, which is right where we were.
And he's chasing a suspect.
Can you get me an air unit, please?
FBI has notified us of a getaway vehicle. Yeah, Roger. It is a caramel-colored T-Bird, last seen eastbound at Nordoff.
But it's just a complete guess as to which way this guy went.
The suspect appears to have escaped.
It's just hard to get this close.
So Davis heads over to the bank.
We're going to go right to the bank right now and find out exactly what we had going.
Okay, so what happened?
He slipped the note in, but he was watching the door.
The man note with a picture on it, right? A hand sketch? This is him. These are the guys. God, we were right here.
There was one person behind him, none was behind the person.
Juan Salinas was in line right behind the robber.
When he thought I was gonna, approach him or something, but that was not my intention, so that's when he pulled the gun out and pointed at me.
The teller didn't see the gun, but she did see the artwork.
He murmured something. I didn't hear what he was saying, so when I saw the note, I knew it.
The robbery is just 15 minutes old.
Detective, we have a possible suspect in a Brown Ford Thunderbird stopped over at Haskell.
And 2 miles away, police have pulled over a suspect in a brown Thunderbird.
You just happen to be in a vehicle and fit a general description of someone who just did a bank robbery. Okay, you feel you would recognize him if you saw him again?
And they bring out a teller.
Is this going to be close enough, or can we go a little farther back?
To make a positive identification.
Bring him up to where I am. Yeah. Over here, we may have to have you go closer.
Unfortunately.
Definitely a negative. Okay, his hairstyle is very similar, but she wanted him to be a lot closer to look at his face. She says it's not him.
It's kind of funny, because, me being thought for as a bank robber.
But the police and FBI don't find anything funny.
Now we're seeing brown Thunderbirds everywhere. There's one right in front of us.
Once again, the art bandits have eluded them.
When you have a group like the artwork bandits particularly, that are robbing as frequently as they are determined to keep this series going until they're caught. And by God, we're going to be there when it ends.
But right now, the art bandits are still rolling along, and they'll hit yet again before our 48 hours is up.
We're going to cut in the backside, and then we're going to loop around the building.
Tango 1, he's cutting across all lanes of traffic. He's in the one lane approaching the border.
That same afternoon,
We're getting close to the border, guys. It's getting close.
the heart-pounding high-speed chase
Attempt for advised border to get in position.
has now covered more than 100 miles and 3 counties.
Still using number 1 lane, 70 to 75 miles an hour, being pursued by 5 California Highway Patrol units. No shots fired, we understand.
And now, this armed robbery suspect is just miles from the crowded Mexican border.
If he tries getting over the border at a high rate of speed, the national police from Mexico might very well open fire, and they have done that in the past.
You've got 2 objectives here: stopping the vehicle
safely,
and then dealing with the suspect who is armed.
Exactly so. Exactly so.
Bill Rader knows they're running out of time.
There was a handgun shown at the bank, and you have to operate, of course, under the armed and dangerous rule here.
10-4, still in number 1 lane south of San Ysidro. We make the stop. All units remind the K9 will be released.
At the border,
they have police officers down there that are armed.
California Highway Patrol Sergeant Bill Carrington makes a critical decision.
3 copy, you're at Palm, setting up the spike strip at Palm.
To deploy the spike strip.
He's coming down south here on the 805. They're talking about putting spikes here at the Palm.
It's a last-ditch effort to stop the armed bandit.
They don't want the suspect to make it to the border.
Units of the spike, we're approaching Palm and number 1.
We're backing up. We're still in the...
Coming up,
Palm Avenue, here it comes. Here comes Palm Avenue.
the dramatic conclusion.
Suspect hit the spike strip.
Okay, he just went over the spikes. He just went over the spikes. We're 1 mile from the border, and this is a very dangerous situation. We do have a lot of traffic up ahead.
Also coming up.
They walked inside the bank carrying fully automatic AK-47 type weapons, which carry 75 rounds each.
But what concerned Rader the most was that the suspects never seemed to be in a hurry.
These individuals were inside the bank for at least 7 minutes in the first robbery, way exceeding the limit for the usual bank robbery.
So what does this tell you about these guys?
That we had 2 individuals that appeared to be spoiling for confrontation with responding police officers.
He enjoyed it. He enjoyed the thrill of it. It was the adrenaline rush.
Dennis Franks should know he's Larry Phillips' half-brother. They grew up together in Denver.
There's nobody that knew Larry better than me.
This is Frank's first television interview.
He just despised being poor and everything about poverty. He just despised it. For him to see people that were wealthy and he wasn't, he couldn't accept it. He wanted it all, and he wanted it now.
Phillips' partner in crime was 30-year-old Emil Matasaranu.
One of the first comments that Larry made to Emil, in hindsight, it sounds really chilling, actually. He said, you know, with your frame and your physique, you work out with me. He says, man, I can make you into a monster. I can make you into a monster. As bad as Larry was, one thing that he was he was a leader. Unfortunately, he could lead people.
Today on AM Northwest,
we're having an AM Northwest pajama party and we're giving away free beds.
plus, do you dream of being late or falling? A researcher reveals what your dreams are really telling you.
And how to indulge without guilt. Sin foods that are not really bad for you. That's today on AM Northwest.
You're watching the Spirit of the Northwest. Now, live from Portland, KATU presents AM Northwest.
And a big good morning to you all.
Welcome to AM Northwest. We're glad you're with us on this Thursday.
We have some news right off the top we're going to give you about schools, one of them.
Well, yeah, they're actually need more sleep. They're trying to go along with, you know, what scientists have basically discovered, which is especially adolescents need to get more sleep. And so they're hoping that kids will actually get more sleep and come to school a little bit later. They're going to start around 9.
Okay.
Yeah, isn't that a good idea?
I don't.
Did you used to?
No, I don't. I mean, it's just, we're just...
You think they'll just stay up later at night,
We're
don't you?
just coddling, that's all.
Well, was that the last time you got your best sleep?
What?
No? It was for me
When I was a
a teenager. It was the last time I ever got the
sleep
best
forever.
sleep.
There are some people in the audience that have on nightwear.
Did you forget to get dressed?
This is. And we've got another gentleman in the front row that's got on, I'd say they're pajama bottoms. I don't know what else. And these slippers of his. Look, there it is.
With a happy face.
Anyway, there's a reason these people are here and they're dressed this way. We've got a pajama type party going on, not in here, but in our parking lot. Here is the roving redhead, Helen Raptis. Helen, what have you got?
Well, like you said, we've got a pajama party going on. We're out in the parking lot. We're at Northeast 21st and Sandy in our K2 parking lot. We're giving away chances to win 4 queen-size mattress sets. I mean, you got to come down. All you have to do is wear your jammies. I've got mine on. I love that guy's slippers in the audience. That's hysterical. But anyway, 4 queen-size Beauty Rest mattress sets. You got to come down in your jammies.
So you're giving away 4 mattresses?
4.
Well, who's going to decide who gets it?
Well, you know what we're going to do is we're going to give out numbers. We're going to put them in my little nightcap, and then we're going to pull numbers. It'll be pretty easy.
Sounds good. So we're at 21st and Sandy.
Right.
Helen is inviting you to come over in your jammies.
In the
and
next hour.
Join me on the bed.
You could win a bed. Okay, Helen. Well, we'll check back in with you and see who comes and what kind of people turn up in their jammies out there. So we talked about teenagers sleeping, and we've got a pajama party going on in the parking lot. Well, have you ever had a dream that you were, you know, naked in public, or a dream that all your teeth fell out. What do those kinds of weird dreams mean? We're going to talk about dreams today. And here to tell us about them is the author of All About Dreams and another book, In Your Dreams. She is Dr. Gayle Delaney. Please welcome her to AM North.
Hi, Rebecca.
How are you, Gayle?
Delighted
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Now, do some people dream more than others?
Some of us remember our dreams much more easily than others. If we're getting enough sleep, for instance, and if babies don't wake us up first thing in the morning. If you think about what was going on in my mind just before I woke up, you remember the dreams. And we've all had these common dreams, and they're the easiest place to start.
I can't remember. There's no way I can remember.
Well, have you kept a piece of paper and pen by your bed?
I'm not going to get up and write,
I'm
then
going to write
I'll
down
be
my
awake.
dream.
How can I do that?
You do that in the morning. Don't bother doing it in the middle of the night.
What about recurring dreams? Is that something that you should definitely look into and
Very
try to...
definitely.
It's covered in your book, and this is a significant part, perhaps, of your sleeping hours.
It is very important, because when you're having a recurring dream, it's because there's a recurring issue in your life that you're not figuring out. When we dream, we think about our lives. We think about what we really feel, what we really think, and we talk to ourselves truthfully without our defensiveness of our waking times. So that if you wake up with a recurring dream, it's because there's a problem in your life you haven't figured out, and your dream will help you figure it out.
Okay, in the 1984 film called Dreamscape, it starred Dennis Quaid, as I remember. We can see two of the most common dream themes. The first is falling. Oh, I hate that.
You remember your dreams?
Yeah, well, that was a long time ago. I used to remember. And the second one is a very common dream thing. It's being chased. I've done that, you know, but not on a recurring basis. So there's a couple of things there are some themes to these dreams, and they fall into what else?
And
falling first?
These common dreams recur for everybody. So they're human experiences that fit a lot of different situations.
So whether we remember it or not, we've all had dreams about falling?
We've all had dreams of falling, of flying, of being naked in public, of having the examination dream where suddenly we have to take the exam, we're back in high school, and we don't know, we're in the wrong room, we didn't study.
Let's start with falling. What does it mean when, you know, let's say I wake up in the morning and I realize that I had that terrible fear and the sensation of falling. What has been going on in my life if I wake up with that dream?
The key thing to remember is that your dream is personal to you. So I can say, generally speaking, most people when they fall feel terrified that they're losing control and something terrible is about to happen to them. That's general sense.
Fear.
So it's fear about something going on in your life where you feel you're losing control and you're just falling.
But where you're falling and who you're falling with and the circumstances within your dream.
You've done your homework.
You've done your,
That's
well,
right.
if you find that out in this book, you've done your homework and you can pretty well tell what's going on.
That's right. Let's say, as I knew a 16-year-old girl who was driving her car and she picked up a hitchhiker. And the next thing you know, she didn't have any brakes in her car and she went off the cliff and woke up with a falling dream. So he asked her, who was the hitchhiker? And when she described that hitchhiker, it was a dead ringer for her new boyfriend. And she couldn't put the brakes on. She couldn't put the brakes on sexually with him. And for her, this would have been a big problem. This was not a good guy for her to be involved with.
Oh, interesting. Being chased.
We've all had that. It was probably the most common dream or second most common dream. And so you have to figure out that dream, again, according to your lights. Who's chasing you? What are you afraid of? What in your life are you running away from? It could be a part of your own personality that's a rough, hewn, difficult, violent part, and it'll exaggerate in the dream. Or it could be that you're running away from your obligations, or that you're running away from something that frightens you that shouldn't. For instance, your own sexuality, for instance. You might see it as very threatening, but if you understood it better, it might not be so threatening.
Or it could be a person, you know, maybe a person that you fear?
Yes, people who are in bad relationships will often run away from pursuing destructive people.
Okay, we talked about falling. How about flying, or good flying, or you're flying? I have done this, and I woke up and I thought, that is so stupid, but it was so neat.
Tell me why
I was up there, and I was doing, it was like a combination of swimming, and all of a sudden I was above this wonderful island, I know. Anyway, what does that mean, flying?
Not bad for a guy who doesn't remember many dreams. And that's the thing, we often say we don't remember our dreams, but when you think about these common ones, here they are. Flying is usually a sense of freedom and soaring, a sense of I can do. And those dreams come at times when you really need that, when you're feeling stuck, or more likely, when you've just done something that'll start to break you out of either frightened position or an intimidated position or a stuck position, and you soar. And these dreams bring incredible joy. Many of the writers throughout all of history have said, you know, maybe my best experience in life came in a dream while I was flying.
What about, now I assume that people have bad flying experiences as
They
well.
do. Let's take the other example. We've got somebody who's being chased by the bad guys and decides to fly away and then wakes up. That's a person who tends to avoid problems in waking life, and she's doing the same thing in her dreams. I don't want to deal with this. I'm going to fly away and escape. That's not a good way to use your flying. But another dream, a woman was flying, she was in her backyard trying to get up, and she couldn't get any higher than about 6 feet. And she couldn't figure out why she wasn't being able to take off. And she looked down, and there was her husband holding onto her left foot. Different kind of interpretation. How did she feel her husband was holding her down? And for her, it was he wouldn't let her go back to school.
Okay, teeth falling out. I've heard this a lot. What does that mean?
Teeth sort of crumbling into your hands.
There's nothing you can do about it. It's frightening.
Yeah. Now, the people who usually have this are amazing in that they usually have very pretty teeth.
Yes.
And it's usually how you look. You're afraid of losing face. Now, that's not always the case. There are different interpretations for different people. But ask yourself, how do I feel when my teeth fall out? What's wrong with that? As if you're talking to someone from another planet. Well, you know, I'd look terrible. I'd be toothless. And then ask yourself, what happened yesterday where you felt you were looking bad or would look bad? Teenagers typically have this dream because they're so afraid of looking good in front of their peers. It's a losing face sort of dream in most cases.
And the classic one is going somewhere in public and finding that you're not wearing anything.
You know, I live in Rome for 2 months a year, and Romans, for some reason, love to tell me this. So I picture somebody in front of the Colosseum standing there with 8 lines of crazy traffic. And this one guy said, there I was, without any trousers on. So embarrassed. It's similar to the teeth falling out dream. It's usually a sense of being very embarrassed that you're vulnerable, that someone's seen either your weakness or your intimate self.
You're exposed
and you're
somehow.
exposed, and it may be your neurotic worry. Oh my gosh, I'm naked. And your friends may say, so what? You told me this personal thing about you. I don't mind. So often it's your own anxiety and worry.
You know, I don't very often dream about my home, inside my home. When I am in a home with family, it's in some strange home. Doesn't feel strange in the dream, but it's not my place. What about if you're adding a new room to your home, or if you move into a new home and you dream about this, or you dream about a new home and you haven't moved yet? It means you're going to move?
Yeah, I live somewhere else oftentimes. I mean, it's in a completely different house that I've never seen before.
House settings in dreams are very telling. Ask yourself, what kind of feeling does this house that I'm in the dream have? Is it a warm home? Is it a cold home? Is
it's
it
usually very old, very dark, and not attractive.
Okay, then there's something, whatever goes on in the action of the dream takes place in something that you experience as a non-attractive part of your life. That's dark, and you're just going to have to deal with. So what you do is you set up a house, you recreate your house, and it's your mental state, sort of.
Right.
And it comes that dream's happening in a dark space.
Oh, you don't necessarily need to remodel right away.
No, nor move.
Well, have you ever dreamt you were having sex with a co-worker or a celebrity? Well, please, do we care? We'll find out what that means next. And Gayle will be back with answers to your calling questions. The number is 231-4252 or 1-800-513-7742.
Still to come on AM Northwest.
How do
$100 value. So are you guys ready to find out who's going to win the first mattress? Let's pull a number. Check out your tickets. I love those leopard slippers. That's great. Okay. The winner of this, the last 3 numbers are 040. 040. All right! What's your name?
Linda Clover.
Yeah. Have you been looking forward to a new mattress? Did you need one?
Yeah, we just have a piece of foam, so it'll work out fine for us.
You're going to sleep a whole lot better now, aren't you?
I bet I am.
Any good dreams you're ready to have?
Yeah.
Dreams of winning.
Dreams of winning.
All right, well, let's go back to you guys, Jim and Rebecca.
Okay, thank you very much. Out there giving away mattress sets. Whoa.
Good mattress.
Gayle Delaney is with us.
Good
She has a book called In Your Dreams. New one coming out a little later this summer.
It's coming out now.
Now? It is coming out now. Okay.
All About Dreams.
Though I love your
Wait till you see the All About Dreams cover.
Neat.
A lady
All About
sleeping
Dreams.
with a cat on the bed. I
Really?
begged for years for a pretty cover, and I finally got one exactly the one I wanted.
Talk about sleeping with animals. You know, because some people have their cat sleeping with them or their dog. I mean, does that give you better dreams?
Cats can help you sleep because they model sleeping. They relax you and help you sleep. Unless, of course, you have a cat that has bad manners and wakes you up in the morning. So I find you have to train your animals not to wake you up until you're ready to wake up, and they learn.
Okay, you have a whole bunch of chapters in here, or one big chapter about having sex in your dreams.
Everybody has
Now you're going to want to
dreams like
remember your
that.
dreams, aren't you?
Pardon me?
Now you're
So
going to want to remember.
everybody has those kind of dreams.
We all do. And
do
in
you
fact,
ever have sex in your dreams with your current spouse?
Yes.
And your ex, whatever?
Often.
And co-workers?
Often.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Tell me about yours.
You're so cute. Let's see which one.
Because you don't live here. We can't tell you about ours.
Okay, having sex with somebody I knew when I was, in grammar school. Now, what is Henry Vaccaro doing? No, I never had sex with Henry Vaccaro. He was my boyfriend from kindergarten through 4th grade.
Yes, but...
And I thought, well, that's interesting. So I described Henry Vaccaro's personality. You have to describe the images of your dream to know what they mean to you. So Henry is this very sweet, super bright fellow who really treated me wonderfully as a girlfriend. He just treated me like a princess, and he lied to his boyfriends, and he let me into his,
clubhouse,
right in the tree house.
that, yeah.
So he was just wonderful. And so I thought, well, now is there anybody in my life right now like that? That's what's usually going on. And indeed, I was dating a fellow who had the best traits of Henry Vaccaro.
Did he have a treehouse?
Well, I don't know yet.
We're going to find out. We're going to find out. We have a caller.
I'm dating a fellow.
We have a caller on the phone who has a question or perhaps a dream to share. Hello, what's your name?
Hi, my name's Martha. How are you guys?
Hi, Martha.
Fine.
Great.
Yeah, I called in because, well, my husband has terminal cancer. He's had it for a year, and he's going downhill. But all year I've been dreaming about tidal waves and runaway elevators. I always manage to survive, and I know it's probably connected, but every time this huge tidal wave, I mean like over the whole city of Portland, and then these runaway elevators that just go upside down and sideways and crazy.
Martha, let me ask you a question.
Uh-huh.
Pretend I come from another planet. What is a tidal wave like? Just give me one little description of a tidal wave.
In the dream?
No, in life. Just tidal waves.
Probably stress, I guess.
Well, now you're
Something
interpreting
overwhelming.
it. But is it a big, overwhelming thing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, isn't that what's going on with your husband and his cancer?
Yeah, I figured it was connected.
So those are the
'cause
kinds of
everybody around me is being pulled under, and I see everything going. And
Okay. So when you see everybody around you being pulled under,
right.
That's a good sign for you to get some support. Seriously,
Okay.
no joke. You go out, you go to the support groups, and you can get an awful lot of help.
Hey, let me ask you a question, because sometimes a dream is so dramatic that it wakes you up. You wake up and you're sweating or you're tense, your heart's beating. And there's an old, I don't know if it's an old wives' tale.
Or an old psychiatrist's tale,
Yeah,
maybe.
or whatever, that if you are actually dreaming that you're about to die, you'll wake up. Because
Or
you won't
die.
ever really die in your dreams. Now,
No.
is that what is
It's
there
a
to
tale. You can indeed dream that you're going to die, dream of dying, and the dream continues.
Really?
That's very interesting.
Real.
Things go on, so don't worry. Nothing terrible is going to happen to you in your dreams. And in fact, it's very useful. When something very scary is happening in your dream, don't wake up. Most of us do because our body gets close to waking, and we just soon not look at it. This is your chance to look at what's troubling you. So say, I'm going to stay asleep, I'm going to stay brave. Find out what's going on in my dream, what's going to happen next, and you get more clues about what's really going on in your life that you're not dealing with very well.
So have you ever dreamt about a famous celebrity, a movie star, in a dream that was rather intimate sort of thing? Can you name one that you've
Richard
done?
Burton.
Richard Burton.
Fred Astaire.
Really? Both
were you
same
dancing?
dream?
You can tell who my heroes were,
You were
yes.
dancing with him? Oh, how
Was
fun.
this the same dream?
No,
Oh,
two different
dreams.
modes.
Wonderful.
And why? Because Fred Astaire represents to me certain kinds of personality traits and certain qualities of joy, and Richard Burton, other ones. My Richard Burton was not the drunk Richard Burton, it was the poet Richard Burton.
Poet.
And in each case, these men represented qualities of my husband, my then husband.
So did you wake up and write him a thank you note or anything?
Nobody kissed my husband. I said,
I
the Richard
see.
Burton in you. I'm being reminded of the best parts of your being.
We have another caller with a dream to tell us about, or maybe a question. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Ed.
Hi, Ed.
Hi, I have a question. I never remember my dreams. Once or twice a year, I'll remember my dream. A dream. What's that tell?
Okay. It's not difficult. If you want to remember your dreams, and that's useful because you'll get way ahead of the game in terms of maturity and figuring out your life, is you just take a pen and paper and write it down. When you first wake up in the morning, your pen and paper is by your bed, and you write down whatever's on your mind, even if it's not a dream.
Okay.
All right? So
Next.
you go to bed with a clear head. Don't go to bed drunk. Don't go to bed so tired. Get yourself enough sleep.
Okay.
When you first wake up, think backwards. What was just going on in my mind? It may not feel like a dream at first.
So when you're thinking, whatever's on your mind when you wake up probably had something to do with
Exactly. And one very important thing to note is we often have our best ideas when we first wake up in the morning. So that you find that you've been dreaming on issues, even if you don't remember the dream. You may have a solution to a problem that's been bugging you in your relationship or in your work.
Can dreams really answer some of your questions if you analyze them? Can they help you, or do they just signify what's going on in your life?
Dreams do both. You have the kind of dream that assesses your life situation, gets you to see it more clearly and less defensively. Another kind of dream really gives you a solution. You can go to sleep, I need a new idea for a show I'm doing tomorrow, for a paper I'm writing, for a presentation I'm making.
Right.
And our scientists and artists throughout history have used their dreams for that, and we can do it too.
You graduated with highest honors from Princeton. And that just wasn't necessarily what I expected to read about you when I found out you were an expert on dreams. Was there one dream that got you thinking, you know, dreams are pretty interesting?
Yes, I was living in Paris doing Russian studies. Serious Russian economics, Russian politics.
Boy, there's a thrilling idea.
When
Russian studies. Yes.
When I had a series of horrible nightmares for a month, every night of my own death and torture. And I thought, my educational system has not taught me how to look at my mind didn't sleep.
Right.
Our mind works and sleeps and dreams and works at night. So I started reading about dreams, and I figured out that I was having a melodramatic, soap opera-like self-torturing over the fact that this Danish man I'd been engaged to had changed his mind twice. I was heartbroken. Then I said to myself, this is crazy. I'm torturing myself in my dreams. I'm making myself suffer. I'm 20 years old. I'm living in Paris. Life probably has a few nice things to offer me.
Yes.
I can get over this. And the dreams broke the spell, and I never had them again. I thought dreams are pretty interesting.
And she's been helping us with our dreams and analyzing them ever since. In Your Dreams, the name of your book. Gayle Delaney, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Really
Thanks,
interesting
Gayle.
talking to you. They've been called
I'm helpless and terrified. I'm falling and falling, falling.
You feel a little bit like you've been in therapy or hypnosis or something with that? But we all want to know, what does it mean? Whether your dreams confuse, frighten, or entertain you. Today, you'll discover how they can help reveal your true self, offer clues to solve everyday problems, and enrich your life. So, if you had a dream last night, stay with us. If it's a subconscious message trying to get through, here to share their dreams with us and find out what they really mean, please welcome Mary Shoemaker, Ron Patton, and Cynthia Thompson. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you. Cynthia, you've been having the same dream since you were just a little girl.
12.
12 years old. What is it?
It always involves a dog. It's according to the position that I sleep in. If my hand is hanging out of the bed, the dog seems to take hold of my hand and will not let go. I can pull and pull, and the dog is a German Shepherd, and I can just continue to cry out. If I cry out, I can wake up, but I can go back into the dream, and once I go back into it, the dream continues, and I can just, the dog is holding on to my hand, just will not let go. And the only way that I can let go of the dream is if I can possibly change my position that I'm sleeping in. And once I change the position, then the dream discontinues.
So you must go to bed every night, you know, trying to put your hands under the pillow or...
Like this or like this. And
now, what effect does this have then on your daily life?
I'm afraid of dogs.
Yeah,
I'm seriously afraid of dogs.
And this has been going on since you were 12.
Yes.
What do you think it means?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Has the dog ever bitten your hand off?
No, no.
It's just that constant tugging. Well, it's not like a real exciting dream, Cynthia.
No.
You know, it's just your particular property that you have.
Right.
Okay, now, Ron, you've had a recurring dream.
I certainly have for the past 20 years.
See, I find that 20 years, the same thing. Okay, how does it start?
It always starts out the same way. It takes place during the medieval times. I'm dressed up as a knight in battle armor. I have a Excalibur sword, and I'm swinging it left to right, left to right. I'm in the midst of a battle, and I can feel and see blood and the sound of people screaming, and also at the base of my feet, there are several severed heads, and they're all looking up at me.
Oh. Oh.
And there's one to the far right of me that kind of resembles my father. And he looks up at me and he says, "You're next." Now, and it usually ends, but when it does end, I wake up and usually I'll have bruises on my arm.
From physically fighting this battle?
Right, from physically swinging the sword back and forth, back and forth.
Do you live by yourself, Ron?
On occasion, I do.
Have you ever had sleepovers who have experienced some trouble with you?
I have. As a matter of fact, one young lady said that she heard voices from me, that there were different voices, and they sounded like people screaming in terrible pain.
This cannot be good for your love life.
No.
No. Well, I can't wait to find out what that means. Now, Mary, you have a common dream, I think, that a lot of people experience. I mean, Ron's is pretty original, but yours seems to be more, more relatable, really.
Since I can remember, but at least starting at 4, I have a dream that I'm drowning. I start on the beach, and I'm having a good time, and suddenly the beach is gone. I'm inundated by Mediterranean Sea water and pitted against cliffs and rocks behind me. And I realize that I'm going to die, that this is the end. I hope I'll be dashed against the rocks and die quickly. I look out and other people are going to die with me. And then at that point I either die and it goes black, or I wake up and I'm constricted. I'm actually constricted now telling you this. And or I die and I can actually look back and say, well, there's my body. I'm dead.
You actually die in your dream? Mm-hmm. I thought that was dangerous. Or, I mean, maybe it is. We're at the point now where we should really find out. So let's do that. Let's hang on to our memories of what's haunting all three of you. And when we come back, one of America's foremost dream psychologists will be here to reveal the hidden messages behind the dreams that you have just heard. And maybe there'll be some of yours too. Stay with us.
Dream.
Let me share something. I was using maxi pads. They were the right size, wrong protection. Then I found Poise pads from Depend, and they're made especially for our needs. Poise pads are small, like the leading maxis, but they absorb 50% more. And Poise has an amazing absorbent layer that locks liquid in. Finally, the protection I need, the size I want. Poise pads from Depend.
A year after the birth of my second child, this lady patted me on the stomach and said, "Oh, when is the blessed event?" That was what sent me to Jenny Craig. I found the Jenny Craig cuisine so convenient. It taught me what a healthy portion is. When you're halfway to goal on Jenny Craig, you gradually start cooking your own food, and it's such an easy transition. Now it's like, oh, it's so simple, but now it finally makes sense.
Join now during our summer celebration. Get half off the regular program fee, just $49. Call 1-800-59-JENNY.
14 million women refuse to bargain.
It's my body, that's why.
If it's not pH balanced and preservative free, as Massengill Vinegar and Water Extra Mild is, that bargain douche may be no bargain.
Massengill, trusted
by more women. When I get gas, I may look like this, but I feel like this, painfully bloated.
Gas-X has the most powerful medicine to fight gas faster than antacids.
So I feel like me again.
Painful gas needs the power of Gas-X.
Do recurring dreams have hidden messages? Joining us with the answer is one of America's leading authorities on dreams. She's the author of many books on the subject and has actually created the Dream Companion, which is sort of a do-it-yourself kit that can help anybody interpret their own dreams. Please welcome Dr. Gayle Delaney. Hi. Now, these people talk about having had dreams most of their lives, the same dream. What causes a dream to recur like that?
When there's something in our life that's a conflict, that hurts, and doesn't get resolved, we don't figure it out or it still haunts us, it's just like a thought. In our dream, it becomes a full life experience. In a dream that's a recurring nightmare, it's like a broken record, and it gets stuck in one place. When you understand the dream, when you work through the conflict, that's when you get rid of your nightmares.
You guys have a lot of conflicts to work through, let me tell you.
Not more than anybody else. A lot of people have long-term recurring dreams. Lots of us do. Lots of us don't remember them, but sometimes you'll have a horrible dream of running and someone chasing you. And lots of us have had that since childhood.
Well, and there's certain stress and anxiety that comes with life that never goes away, so that's a conflict that represents itself every day.
Like forgetting your lines or the examination dream. High-stress people, oh no, another deadline, I'm not going to make it.
Exactly. I have that one all the time.
I bet you do.
I don't think I'm ever going to work through it. But let's talk about Cynthia's dream. You know, like the dog has got her hand if it's hanging out of the bed. What?
Okay, now the key to interpreting dreams is to ask yourself the right questions about your dreams. So I'm going to ask Cynthia, I'll play the outside interpreter for the moment. What's the dog like? He's a German Shepherd?
Yes.
What's his personality like? Because he's got your hand.
Vicious. Scary.
Mm-hmm.
Afraid.
Okay.
Big.
So he's big, he's vicious, he's scary, and he's got your hand and won't let go. And you've had this dream since you were about how old?
12.
Okay. So what part of your life has felt like that? Has there been anything in your life that feels vicious, mean, scary, like a German Shepherd that will not let go of your hand and you just can't get away from it?
My past.
What do you mean?
Family.
Was your family vicious and mean?
No, but I just wanted to be away.
You just wanted to be away. Was it mean the way the dog was mean?
He didn't bite me.
No, not being bitten. But did you have a feeling? See, the thing is, your dream will show you the picture, the feeling picture in the person of a dog, in this case, that symbolizes how it felt. So if we're on the right track, if it is your past, if it was...
Pain.
Pain. Was it painful?
Yes.
And you actually, actually, when we talked about your dream, you said you had a German Shepherd.
Yes.
And that as a child, you were afraid of him.
Yes.
That's a good example, Leeza, of how you use an early image into your adulthood of a dog that was scary for situations that are both scary and inhibiting. Poor Cynthia can't get her hand away, and there's something about her past. She's having trouble getting away from some of the early pain of her childhood.
That makes sense to me. Now, Ron's dream about, you know, having all the looking like a knight and doing battle with that sword.
With the Excalibur sword. Okay, one thing that I asked earlier, because I always pretend I come from another planet, I ask my dreamers to tell me what they believe about the images, because what I believe is irrelevant. And don't let anybody tell you what your dream means, and don't read any book dictionary. So I asked, well, what's Excalibur like? And Ron, you said it was what?
Well, it's a very heavy sword, very sharp. According to history, it weighed anywhere between 5 and 10 pounds.
And who could use it? Just anybody?
No, just a special guy. It was actually made for King Arthur.
Okay.
And it was wedged in a stone, and only King Arthur could pull it.
Okay, so someone who had the right qualities.
Right.
Strength, power, courage, and honor, and all that good stuff?
Right, the whole good stuff.
Okay, so now you've got Excalibur. You've got this war going on. You're having to fight.
Right.
And you said you're the sole survivor. What do you feel in your life would fit the description of you as a sole survivor?
My early childhood, I had to, I didn't have the best relationship with my father. He was very, in his own way, he tried to instill in myself and my twin brother how to be a man.
Yeah. But now he said that his father's head, is your father deceased?
No, he's alive.
But in the dream, his father's head was severed in front of him and looks up and says, "You're next."
Well, you know, right now, Ron's dealing with the feeling of, you know, he's like King Arthur. He's got the thing, he's going to be the survivor, he's going to make it, probably in life in general. But what's he got? His father, who was beaten down in life, we know this from our discussion earlier, his severed head is still putting him down. He's still saying, Ron, you're next. You're not going to make it. And Ron is making it. And so what Ron's got is this haunting dad, right? The old picture, even though your dad may not do it now, whether he does, it's still inside your head, and you have to fix it in your heart.
I'm constantly hearing his voices.
Yeah,
his
exactly.
voice in my head.
Exactly. A lot of us are having to hear negative parent stories about ourselves.
That is so fascinating.
And the way to fix it, it's work. You have to look at your dad as that's who he is. That's all he could do. It was terrible, but that's what he did. That's a reflection of your dad, not of who you are. It's not a good analysis of you. You wouldn't trust your dad to make an analysis of another person because he was that kind of mean guy at that time when he was growing up.
Now, let's look at Mary's dream where she is drowning. And when she said that she actually sometimes dies, I went, oh my gosh, because I've always heard, well, if you ever die in your dreams, that's it. You'll have a heart attack.
Well, Mary's living proof. Living proof. You can die in your dreams. You can fall, hit bottom, you'll be fine. This is a dream and fantasy experience, okay? Now, in your dream, Tell me about the circumstances. At first you were in this nice environment, and then you're aware that you're drowning.
Right.
And what do you think then?
I'm inundated. I'm going to be, it's not a crashing wave situation, the water's just rising and
The
I can't
tides?
get out. Right, the
Tides?
tide is rising, yes.
Okay, what do you say to yourself as you're going down?
I'm going to drown.
When we were
It's
talking,
over.
did you say that, oh, darn it, I did it again? The tides are coming in?
Yes. Well, I say that as it recurs, yes. I've done it again. I'm in this spot again. I'm going to die again.
So the key here is that this is a circumstance that occurs in Mary's life, not just once when you started having this dream,
right,
but it keeps happening in her life. So while there might have been an early trauma or distress, it's still somehow she keeps repeating it. She's not watching the tides coming in. So when you were little, when you were having this dream, was there anything in your life where you could be having a fine time when suddenly the tides would come in and you'd go down?
Well, I was raised in an alcoholic home, and yes, you can be playing and everything can be fine, and then when that individual who is afflicted with that particular disease responds to the disease, everything changes immediately, and it does appear hopeless at
So you
that
can
time.
imagine Mary's a little girl drowning, and if her mom had understood this dream, her mom might have been able to take more action. If her teachers in school had understood this dream. See, this little girl feels like she's drowning, but now as an adult you're having it. Are there situations where you're not watching the tides come in and you get overwhelmed again? You use it in a different way now according to your adult circumstances?
Yes, can
How?
be. Every business, too much to do.
Does it feel like drowning?
It can, yes. I feel like I'm overwhelmed or inundated by work or family
So there's
issues.
an old image that has lots of power and strength, and you can use it now in your adulthood to say, here's just like when I was a little girl, now you can do something about it. Now you should know about the tides and take more care. And the dream will usually come in time to help you say, the tide's coming in, you know, do something.
I find this so fascinating. I've got to break away. I want the audience to have a chance to get in and respond to your stories or ask questions of you, Gayle. You know, what I hear you saying is you really should use this as an incredible tool to learn about ourselves and to help sort out conflicts that we're having, and it's real interesting to hear the process that you go through. We're going to take a break and bring up some other scenarios. Have you ever dreamed you were in a car and the brakes failed, or that you were running down a long hallway finding every door you try is locked? We're going to find out what those dreams mean when we come back and talk to our audience. Don't go away.
Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? I travel the world and the seven seas.
On June 24th, Walt Disney Pictures presents an all-new animated motion picture event, The Lion King.
This will all be mine?
Everything the light touches. It's the story of a prince denied his throne. I will be king. And his struggle to fulfill his destiny. Remember who you are. Simba! With original songs by Tim Rice and Elton John, it's Disney's The Lion King. Rated G. Exclusive engagements now playing June 24th everywhere.
It's big, it's bold, it's big and juicy. Zestier, juicier, and beefier kinds of dogs. Bursting with flavor.
What a hot dog!
Big and juicy hot dogs from Oscar Mayer. We're talking taste, big time.
Dad spent a lifetime teaching you lessons. And now the JCPenney Father's Day sale on Dockers lets you show him a thing or two. Because a great selection of Dockers is on sale. He'll be proud to learn you saved on loose fit pants and sports shirts, specially priced so you both look smart. So take note of the Docker sale for Father's Day. With prices like these, it'll be a cinch to give Dad a lesson in cool.
JCPenney, doing it right.
If it's time to do a little groundbreaking, don't go at it the old-fashioned way. Tear through it with a garden claw from Garden Weasel.
Just position it like this, and you'll be ready to cultivate, loosen, aerate, and weed.
The hardened steel tines rip through tough soil with just a twist of the comfort grip handles, even in heavy clay.
And it comes with a 100% lifetime guarantee.
So if you've got a tough job ahead of you, tear through it the easy way with the Garden Claw.
From Garden Weasel.
The Garden Claw is available at participating True Value, Ace, HWI, and Service Star. Makes a great gift for Dad.
It's Thursday's Comedy Smash. Let's all sing the Frasier song.
Frasier's a good bet. It's a quirky gem.
Whoa.
One of the best.
Yes.
4 stars for them.
Wow.
Super talent. The makings of a hit.
We're in.
Just say we agree.
Oh, it's great.
All right. So every Thursday night, watch Frasier Craig.
Who, me?
Right here on NBC. One more time. So every Thursday night, watch Frasier Craig.
It's me.
Right here on NBC.
We are talking about recurring dreams, what they're trying to tell us. And the audience, I know, has got a lot of questions. Let's start out here. Anybody? Stand up.
Okay, I've been going out with the same guy for about 4.5 years, and I started going out with him when I was 16. Now
He doesn't
I'm
have
20.
that Excalibur thing going, does he?
No, but I have real vivid dreams of him leaving on a plane with somebody else, and I can picture the face all the way up to the hair color.
Of the other woman?
Of the other girl, and I was just wondering if that meant anything.
What does the other girl look like? Because you have details. You
Well,
pictured her.
She has red curly hair, and I haven't had this dream for a long time, but I would wake up literally in tears crying, and I would call him, and I would be hysterical, like
What-
it was so real.
In the dream, can you tell what your boyfriend sees in this redhead? What's he attracted to in her?
I don't know.
Not Nicole Kidman, is it? Just taking some stabs here. I don't know.
It could be his ex-girlfriend because she does have red hair, but I've never really, honestly, been jealous or concerned about that. But
Well, all I can say is that somewhere you're a little concerned about it. Somewhere you're anxious about getting left and abandoned. I don't know if that was something that you grew up with or if it's something that you created now in your adult life. But the dreams show you your worries and your anxieties that are sometimes too embarrassing to admit while you're awake. And so you get to talk about it. What's funny is here you're a blonde, your guy's running off with a redhead. Most of us brunettes dream about our guys running off with gorgeous blondes. Everyone has their troubles.
Thank you. Would you stand up and tell yours, please? You have a common one.
Oh, yes. I have this recurring dream where I find myself running down this long hallway, and it has like many doors on each side, and an opening at the end of the hallway that I can't quite, depict what it is. It's colorless. And it's this, thing chasing me. And, I hear sounds. I hear my breathing, his breathing while we're running. And the only words that are being said is me saying, if you catch me, I'm going to have to hurt you. It's like...
And do you believe it? Are you scared to death, or do you really feel like you're going to be able to hurt this
No,
being?
I'm selling wolf tickets, actually. So, and it's like I try each door, and they won't open. I run a little more. I sell a little bit more wolf tickets.
Bluff tickets, right?
Yeah, and
Couldn't this be from seeing too many horror movies?
No.
No.
Because you see, so many of us have seen these horror movies, but how come you pick up on it? And there's a reason that it's meaningful to you. So, the feeling of running down the hall, there's an opening at the end, but it's not clear. So you can't really see what the end is in sight for you. So you try these other doors and they don't open. Is there any part of your life where you feel like there's pressure behind you, like there's this unknown being that's breathing and it's scaring you and it's pressing, and you can't open doors? You try, but the doors won't open, and you're sort of stuck. Where is that a picture of your life? Does that express a feeling you got?
The only thing I could possibly think is my want for a career. Something that would, I have a 10-month-old daughter, and I want to provide for her, as best, I can. I want to give her everything, actually. And I'm also thinking of my future, like, when I'm older, how will I be able, to take care of myself?
Okay, and have you had trouble getting doors to open for you in your career? Yes. Okay, that's real important. The dream expresses that. And I've thought of something. You have this colorless thing at the end. You might want to really think about your goals and color them in, make them more vivid. Because if you could see that end, you wouldn't stop at these closed doors, right, in the dream? Right. So that might help.
Interesting. A lot of people have that one. It seems to be about opportunity or how you view opportunity. Well, it wasn't going to take us long talking about dreams before we start talking about sex dreams. So we're going to come back and talk about what does it really mean when you... I'm not really surprised to read that statistic. Do you ever dream about having sex with your husband's best friend? We've all had provocative, erotic, and sometimes embarrassing sexual dreams, but do they really mean what they seem? Dr. Delaney's newest book, Sexual Dreams, says we can actually use those dreams to target problems in our relationships. And joining us now to talk about her sex dreams, please welcome a very brave woman, I think. This is Angie Killam. Angie, don't hold back now, okay? Before we get started into your story, is it very common to be embarrassed about this? Because I think, you know, we do have them and we don't really talk about it, except for Angie.
And we all have sexual dreams.